Welcome back. Today's lesson will be on the volume of rectangular prisms and cylinders. So the key to these is making sure that you can identify the figure and know where the formula comes from. It's probably one of the things that my students struggle with the most is remembering each formula. So if we look at our first shape here, we have a cylinder. Now, a cylinder can be many things like a Pringles can, a soda bottle, a can of soup, many things like that. So they're very useful in everyday life. Now, volume is all about how much stuff can we fill into your shape. So you probably have noticed at the top of your shape here is a circle shape. So the volume is equal to the base times the height, and this big B is the area of the base. And we've covered area of circles. So it's really volume is equal to pi r squared times the height, where pi r squared is the area of the circle. And then we have number 2 here. This is a rectangular prism. Because its base is a rectangle. See the base here, and then the height. So our volume is equal to length times width times height. Let's try some examples. Okay, for our first 2 examples, find the volume of each figure round to the nearest tenth. The tenth, remember, is 1 decimal place. So for number 3 here, we look at our shape. The first thing we should do is identify the formula. So I know it's a rectangular prism, so I have the area of the base times the height. Now, when I'm first starting these, I really like to draw on the picture to make sure that I'm grabbing the correct values, because some people have a trouble seeing it in 3 dimensions from the paper. So by doing this, it kind of helps guide me. So I have volume equals length times width times height. So this is a 7 by 12 for length times width. 7 by 2. And then the height is 5. So you are going to multiply all of those numbers together. Once we do that, we get 70. And remember, we have to remember our units. So this is in yards cubed. Just like area was in yards squared, we add another dimension, so it's in 3 dimensions, or yards cubed. So that's all you do for number 3. Number 4, very similar setup. So we are looking at our circle, where we have our radius. So we have volume equals pi r squared times the height. So I have pi times 6 squared times 8. Remember to follow order of operations. You need to square the 6 first. So 6 times 6 is 36 times 8. And with that, we get 288 pi kilometers cubed. Now sometimes, like our directions, they want us to round to the nearest tenth, so I can't leave it in terms of pi here, but very often on some state standards they might have you leave it at this point. So don't be confused if you solved everything through and then notice that all your answers are in terms of pi. Just pay attention to that. So if I were to approximate this, it would be 288 times pi, which is just 3.14 in most cases. So we would get 904.8 kilometers cubed. That's all you're going to be doing. Let's try 2 more, and then you will be moving on to your own practice. Okay, last 2. So again, write down your formula. Our first one here is a cylinder. So we have volume equals pi r squared times the height. Make sure that you identify the correct radius. Just like if you were given the diameter, you would have to cut it in half. But here our radius is the 4 because it's connected to the base. So plug in all your pieces in the correct sections. And then the height of our figure is 2. So we square the 4 first, so we get 16 times 2 pi. So we get 32 pi meters cubed. Again, if I want to round this to the nearest tenth, like my directions tell me to do, I'm going to approximate and get 100.5 meters cubed. It's not so scary. The scariest part is actually remembering all the formulas. Our last one, we have another rectangular prism. So again, I like to identify one of my bases and then the height of that base. So volume equals length times width times height. So I'm 6 length times 2 times a height of 2. If I multiply that together, I get 24, and I add my units. It's in meters cubed. And that is all you're going to be doing. Now, on the back side of your worksheet, you have a 7 to 12. I want you to complete those and then upload them so we can see where you're going with that. If you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.